again, everyone. This is the second piece of the melody book, Bingo, that you will have to play on test 1. Please note that in this song you have to play and sing. So both hands play the accompaniment and you have to sing the melody. Remember that on Battle Hymn you had to play the melody with the right, accompaniment with the left. In this case, you sing and accompany yourself. The accompaniment is going to be syncopated. That means that on a 2/4 you will omit the third eighth note or the second beat. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and instead of 1 and 2 and, okay? In order to practice this, the first thing I want you to do is learn the lyrics. Now I know that maybe you have learned this song when you were a kid, you probably know them, but please, I've had people get confused in the test because of the lyrics. The reason why we want you to learn the lyrics is because you will have to play and sing very often in your musical life, whether it is in a lesson because you want to illustrate something and you want to accompany a melody and you won't have enough hands to sing. Imagine you're an oboe teacher and you want to show something to a student and you are gonna play piano and accompany yourself singing a melody part or an orchestra part. You will have to be able to sing the melody and accompany yourself. Same thing if you work with a choir, if you work in a middle school or a high school, I tell you 100% you're going to have to sing and play at the same time. And this is not an easy task. So lyrics are going to be part of your work, so you have to be able to sing them. There are exceptions if you are sick, if you cannot sing for several reasons, please let me know, but you have to, on a general basis, be able to know the lyrics and sing them. All right, so I'm going to sing a little bit so that you have an idea of how this will go. Make sure when you have a pickup note that you play your key, that you play your main key, in this case E major. This is so that you're not off, out of tune. So play before in the test. When I ask you to play this, play the chord first and then go. There was a farmer had a dog and Bingo was his name. Oh, B-I-N-G-O, 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 Bingo was his name. You don't know how many times someone has started like this. There was a farmer. Okay, it sounds horrible. So make sure that you play your chord first. Okay, we're going to first look at the left hand. The left hand is going to play single notes, except on the chords that have an inversion written out. That is the B7 for sure. And then there's a 2/6. I give you that as an option. This is optional, the 2/6 on the third to last measure. I like a root position there so that the fourths continue. There's a pattern there. I'll explain that later on. But in general, we're going to play root positions on the left hand, okay? The first finger on the left hand is going to be 1. And after that, you barely move the hand. So it will be, there was a farmer had a dog and Bingo was his name. Oh, B-I-N-G-O, 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 and Bingo was his name. Oh. As you see, this is mostly a 5-finger position, okay? Now, because this is a syncopated accompaniment, you will only play the left hand on the chords that are written. So every time you have a letter for a chord, that's where you play the left. That means you're not gonna be able to play the syncopated accompaniment on the second measure of the song. So you will need to do. So you basically play 1 and 2 and on every beat. then you will continue. Bingo. You will have to play here again, no syncopation. But when it says name O, there you can already play the syncopation. Okay, so basically the only part where you won't be able to play a syncopation is on the second and third measures of the piece. Okay, so be careful with that. So let's go back to the left hand. The way I played it before was playing basically every beat, beat 1 and beat 2. When you practice it, it's fine. You can do that. This is too long. Okay, so you can totally just practice, even though you're gonna omit that second E. Okay. Okay. I think the left hand is clear. I think it's going to all make more sense when we play together. Right hand. You start on a first inversion of your tonic. That means G sharp on the bottom. This is going to be your starting position. Your top note is going to be the E closest to middle C. The left hand, on the contrary, is going to play an octave down from that E. So this is your starting position. Please don't do this or don't do this. I'm exaggerating, no one will do this, but try to have the hands close together. They won't clash, I promise. Okay, right hand. The way we're going to practice is without syncopation, even though we'll syncopate later. So 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. Okay, as you see, this is my first chord. The closest one I can go to on the A is root position. So A will be root. Then back to E. I repeat. Now for B7, the closest thing will be, closest inversion will be this one. Okay? This is the last inversion. Then back to first inversion E. I repeat. Root A. Back to E7 like before. Back to E, first inversion. Now for the sixth, I only move one note. Right? Then for the second degree, which is F sharp minor, I move up, but I use the C sharp as kind of as a hinge, right? And look how easy it is to play my B7 now. I'm back to 1/6. Okay, I'm going to play the tempo. You can follow along. If this wasn't clear, you can go back, watch the video again, and practice it on your own. 1 and 2 and 1 and go. 1 and 2 and 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 B7 back to E, first inversion. Okay, now let's put it together with the syncopation. If that is too much of a step, that step is too far from you, practice as if you had to just play single notes on the left, regular chords on the right, like this. There, and feel free to sing at the same time. There was a farmer had a dog, and Bingo was his name. Feel free to practice like that. When you feel comfortable doing that, you can then move on to syncopation. Okay, so 1 and 2 and. So there's nothing on 2, right? 1 and 2 and 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 1 and 2, 6, 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. know it went a little fast, but you have played the syncopated accompaniment before, so I think once you can nail it this way, you can totally do it syncopated with no problem. Remember, I remind you that measures 2 and 3, you cannot do syncopation. You have to play kind of a boom chick accompaniment. So 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1. Okay, and then after the second line, you can already play syncopation in every single measure. Now let's go to those added chords. So the third line, as you can see in your packets, they have 2 additional chords written out and the B7. So from the beginning of the line, you have 6th degree, 2nd degree, first inversion, B7, so dominant, and then tonic. By the way, I didn't mention this, but I assume you are all writing your degrees, the degrees of your scale. So 1 for E major, so tonic, then A for the subdominant, B is the dominant. So I hope you're writing all of these down. It will be really helpful visually, especially on the test where you might be a little nervous. So third line, we were saying please don't forget that the first, second, and third measures of the third line, they have added chords. Now, even though it says 2-6, if you want to play a root position there, that will be fine. I prefer it. The reason is we're doing this progression of fourths. So we're doing B-I-N-G-O, there's a fourth here, a fourth resolution. Now another fourth, another fourth. So if you play F sharp there instead of A, which is what 2-6 is, it's totally fine. So either one is alright. You have to stretch a little more for the F sharp, but you should be fine. Alright, so I'll play the third line syncopated so that you see what I mean. Okay, at the end, if you want to play this E first and then the bottom one, you can do that to have a little more emphatic ending. Okay, let me see if I forgot anything, but I think I mentioned everything. Again, the octaves, make sure you start this way, okay? The hands are close together. They're not gonna clash. Remember to play before you start singing, play a chord to make sure you sing in tune. And careful with the added chords, the inversions. Careful, this is play and sing. You don't have to play the melody with the right hand. We are not transposing here, so we're going to play it as written. And the syncopation, make sure that falls on the third eighth note of each measure, with the exceptions of measures 2 and 3. I hope this is clear. Again, you can ask questions on office hours, and you can email me. You can use the chat in Canvas. Please don't use the tests for questions. They're not private lessons, so make sure that you ask your questions before the test. Thank you, and I'll see you on the next video.